Welcome to the Dynasty Dads Podcast. Football, rankings, debates, dad stuff with your host, Justin Williams and Matt Renshaw.
Welcome, everybody, to this edition of the Dynasty Dads Podcast. I am your host, Justin Flat Earth Truther Williams, and with me, as always, Matt Renshaw. Matt, how are you doing?
I'm good. I like that. I like that little name. I don't know, what do they call it when you roll your R's?
Rolling your R's.
I was like, isn't there a name for that? Anyway, yeah. Flat Earth Truther, huh?
Yeah, I like to kind of give people a little peek behind the curtain. We have a good Flat Earth story coming up.
Don't we do? We
Yep.
sure do.
I'm going to prove it to you once and for all.
Okay.
Matt, how was your week?
It was a good week.
Was it?
Yeah.
That makes one of us.
Nice weather. The cold went away. The girls have been great. Nothing crazy, nothing bad happened. So that's always, that makes for a good week.
Yep.
Did you have something bad happen?
Nothing bad. It was just, it's been really busy. Being a realtor and all.
Yeah,
there's been a lot going on. Now that the weather's actually starting to turn around, people are doing stuff.
Yeah.
Which means that I'm doing stuff.
You're a little busy.
Yeah. So working for nothing.
Hey, you know what else? Why else it's been a good week?
Why?
Because we have been pushing out story after story after story on Dynasty Dads.
We have a bunch of really talented writers on that site now.
Yes, we do. I love reading this stuff. Your piece is up, my piece is up. But then we had Brandon Sizak on a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
His pieces are up.
Yeah, he has a couple stories. Who else? Kyle Senra is one that we just posted this week.
Yep.
Jacob Trowbridge is also a very talented writer. Jacob is doing things, I believe. He is the individual.
He's got our clearance rack.
The clearance rack, which was really, really good. And then Kyle Senra is doing something a little different. He's actually given us articles about the basics of Dynasty football, which if you're listening to this podcast, probably not needed for you, but it is still a good read.
Right, it's something that you can point if you're trying to convince your friends, like we did years ago, to join a Dynasty League, to start a Dynasty League. Mm-hmm. Have them read this stuff because it's nice background. It kind of fills you in on why it's different and how values change. I really like the series that Kyle's going to write.
That stuff took Matt years to understand.
Get out of here! I was the one pushing for Dynasty Leagues.
Yeah, you just didn't understand how it all worked.
That's not true.
As far as kid stories go, Carly is this close to crawling.
Nice.
Like this close. I'm holding my fingers real close together.
Is she doing like the army crawl? She's not up on her knees yet?
She's like, what she does is like, she gets on her belly, obviously, because she's a baby.
Right.
And she raises her arms and her legs at the same time.
Okay.
So it's kind of like
So she's like doing Superman's.
Yeah. There you go. That's perfect.
The ab workout with it.
The Superman. She's doing that like all the time.
Yeah.
And then if you like put your hands behind her feet, she'll like kind of push against those.
Okay.
But she hasn't put it all together yet.
Gotcha. So that's piecing it together.
Yeah.
How'd the week go with Carson after the soccer over football decision?
We haven't talked. I haven't seen him in days.
Well, you kicked him out. That's what I heard.
Yeah. No, he's good. He's still has basketball in the mind because last Saturday the game actually got canceled because we had the freak ice storm.
Yeah.
Because we live in Iowa. And
we get all 4 seasons in a one-day span.
Yeah, I seen people wearing shorts today.
Yep. Oh, it was so nice today.
Yeah. So anyways, they canceled the game because there was an ice storm, yada, yada, yada. So that's postponed to this Saturday. So he still has basketball in the mind.
Okay.
So that's the championship game. So I've had like 2
Oh, that's
straight.
right. This championship. I forgot.
Nothing's on the line, but it's a championship game. So can't wait for that. After that, that's when we'll start getting into soccer mode, I guess, which is, I don't know what that
You could
means.
call it football. Technically
Football.
it's called, you could. Tell all your friends he's
I'm
playing
just gonna
football.
tell him he needs to tackle somebody every game.
Can you do that? Is it like slide tackling? I played FIFA when I was in college, but I don't know a whole lot about soccer.
What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do?
I couldn't play soccer. I need to play. I have to use my hands. I couldn't.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Exactly.
I don't know what to do with my
couldn't
hands.
do the no hands thing. So my coach said, "Go play goalie. Use any body part you want." Great. I figured that out quick.
Gross. That explains so much.
I have a kid story. But it's not my kid. So
man, this got weird so quickly. You're talking about using any body part you want. Your coach was telling you that when you were a kid, and now you're talking about.
So I'm a teacher, and I deal with America's youth on a daily basis.
Tell them what age group.
high school kids.
Yeah, high school kids. This is gonna be fun.
It is fun, and there's lots of I taught at a middle school for 2 years, and I thought that was interesting between 6th and 8th graders, and there's a big difference there. There's a pretty big difference between freshmen and seniors as well. Anyway, so today in class I had a sophomore student. We were having a conversation, and
sophomore.
I don't know how it came up, but she looked at me and something about the Earth, and she said, "Mr. Renshaw, you know the Earth is flat, right?"
Is she trolling you?
No,
there?
She's 100% serious because her friends were like, "Don't do this now." Every other teacher tells you that the Earth is not flat. There's scientific proof out there. So I engaged.
The Kyrie Irving or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I engaged. I was like, okay. I said, the Earth's flat. I said, if the Earth is flat, actually what I said, and this is probably irresponsible of me as a teacher, I said, oh, it is. I said, actually, it's flat, and we're on the back of a turtle. And I Google searched flat Earth on the back of a turtle and showed her, and she wasn't amused.
No.
But then she wanted to, have a conversation.
Most of our listeners right now.
She wanted to have a conversation about how the Earth was flat. And she said, we don't fall off. And if it's flat, you wouldn't fall off. Like if you stand on a table, you don't fall off because it's flat. And I said, okay, but like a table, like if you get to the end, don't you fall off? Like couldn't you fall off the edge of the Earth if the Earth were flat? And she goes, no. She goes, you would just flip to the other side.
See, that's where she has a flaw in her logic. And I'm going to be careful because I'm not a flat Earth truther, but I have listened.
I know you have.
I have listened to. I listened to a conspiracy podcast, which is just really fun sometimes. Mm-hmm. If you ever feel like you just need that extra edge to want to hate everyone, you listen to stuff like that.
Okay.
And this was they had a guy on there that would talk about why the Earth is flat, and when the host said, "Okay, well then how do I get to the edge of the Earth and look down?" Mm-hmm. Like, where is that at?
Right.
And the guy goes, well, you can't get to it. It's guarded by the politicians. And
oh man.
The guards, whatever. Like, it's guarded. You can't get to it. They will shoot you dead. Is how he put it. And he said because they don't want anybody to expose this truth about the Earth being flat. And all those pictures from space are all BS. They're all doctored. And this is something to where they've actually made everybody believe that when somebody says the Earth is flat, they're the crazy ones. So we're all brainwashed into believing gravity, essentially.
Her other point was, the sky is flat, so the Earth has to be flat.
Well, that's dumb. That's a terrible argument.
That's what she said. She goes, look up. The sky's flat. And I'm like, no, the sky is everywhere. Like, it's around us. And one of the students, they were kind of a smart aleck. They said, hey, do you ever want to travel around the globe? And she goes, yeah, I'd love to travel around the globe. And he goes, around. You might want to say that, around. Yeah. Yeah, so I have a student that believes in the flat Earth theory.
You should bring the movie, The Truman Show, in and just, have them all watch it. And then she'll feel so much more confident with her stance. Have you ever seen The Truman Show?
I was like,
really?
I know Jim Carrey's in it. I haven't watched
Netflix.
It in years.
It's on Netflix. Watch it.
Okay.
It's on Netflix.
We went way off topic here.
Netflix is doing a lot, really.
They are. I like
that they're doing their own stuff, their own movies, their own shows.
7 Seconds? You ever watch 7 Seconds? You started that one yet?
No.
Oh, it's a good... I've watched the first episode, and I'm going to watch the whole series.
What was that horror show they just... Open House.
I haven't seen it.
Terrible.
Oh, okay.
Terrible.
Okay.
And it's not because I'm a realtor. It's just awful.
I watched Dirty Money.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Dirty Money was good. Showed that in I teach business classes, so I showed that in some of my business classes. The Great Maple Syrup Heist, and that was one.
I'm already interested.
Yeah, you would like it.
I love syrup.
Yeah, it goes missing. like hundreds of thousands of gallons of syrup, and the mob's involved, and it's worth the watch.
I might just do that tonight. That sounds really interesting.
It's and it's Canada, so they talk funny.
Oh, man, count me in.
So I love our listeners up north.
Where were we? What are we doing? Oh, the podcast. Anyways,
podcast.
So today we have a really special episode. We have the Mitchell Renz on.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a great interview. Probably going to spend a good 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes with that fella.
Yeah, from the conversations that we've had on online, he knows his stuff. and he works for a sports company, and so yeah,
he does stuff for everybody. He does stuff for Gridiron Sports.
Chat Sports is
Gridiron. I'm sorry, Gridiron Experts.
Chat Sports is who he works for.
Yep.
He writes for Fantasy Pros.
And his Twitter is just off the cheesy for cheesy.
Yeah.
You can find him over at Mitchell Renz 365. Great name. Dude's awesome.
Yeah.
We're gonna really like what we got for you today.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. So with that, Matt, we're gonna go ahead and
Let's get him.
Why don't we get into some news? We have some quick.
We
news.
have some quick news. Yeah,
it's all running back stuff, right?
Stuff. Yeah. We got Jay Stu.
Jay Stu has been cut, which is absolutely heartbreaking for me, considering where I thought he would rank last year at this time.
Yep. Hot take it or leave it.
Yep. I thought he was going to be a decent value, and he was not.
No.
And Matt, what does this do? Well, first of all, where do you think Jonathan Stewart ends up, if anywhere?
I think he ends up somewhere. I think comes in as a goal line back or
that's scary.
Why?
He's not a good goal line
big
back.
Guy. I can name a lot of teams that need running backs. I think he makes sense for a team like Buffalo with Shady. There's a vet that could come in and kind of spell Shady. I mean, if we're talking about teams that need running backs, the Giants could use a running back, but they could draft a running back.
Let me stop you there. Is there a team or a situation right now that Jonathan Stewart could be in that makes you say, "Oh, I'll draft Jonathan Stewart"?
Yeah.
Really? Because I'm struggling.
Really?
Yeah.
Tampa?
Still struggling. I think Peyton Barber is far better than Jonathan Stewart. And I think they're going to add another running back.
That's what I'm saying. Stewart could be that running back. Or do you think they're going to draft one?
If they even added Jonathan Stewart, I think they get another guy. Probably a young one.
The Jets, I mean, foreshadowing there, they just lost a running back.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. He could be a decent two for the Chiefs behind Hunt, but they've got Ware coming back.
Spencer Ware.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
No. You're not going to get away with that one.
Chargers? I'm trying to think of teams out west.
Regardless, moving forward, I don't think he gets signed until late in
I don't think he gets signed until after the draft.
It's far after the draft. That's me. Maybe I'm looking at it with some hate-filled glasses over here, but I don't see it.
You're so mad that he didn't live up to your hot take.
No. So what about Christian McCaffrey? How does this impact him? Do you raise his value there? Does it kind of stay the same for you?
It stays the same because I think they're going to bring somebody in, so it really doesn't. I mean, I think his value will change depending on who they bring in and what they're looking to do.
I agree. I'm completely with you there.
I don't know. I still like Stewart. I think he'll contribute. He's a late round flyer guy. He was a late round flyer guy last year.
Well, another running back that's in the news right now is Mr. Matt Forte.
He gone.
Yeah, Matt Forte is gone. Looks like he's retiring.
Yeah.
What a career.
Yeah. Hall of Famer? You think maybe?
With some of the guys that are in the Hall of Fame, it wouldn't shock me. I've never been a big Forte fan. I just never bought in. But yeah, he's had decent seasons.
For fantasy wise, he was in his career, he finished as an RB1 6 times. So I mean,
that's pretty good.
He'll make the Bears Hall of Fame. I don't know if he'll make the NFL Hall of Fame. I mean, the last 2 years with the Jets have kind of been not the greatest to remember him by, but he's one of the best Bear running backs. Not the best, but one of the best.
Does that impact any Jets running back for you? Does McGuire get it? I agree. But
no, I think they're going to bring somebody in. This rookie class is deep at running back. I think they'll bring somebody in. They've already said that they view Powell. You're not going to do it? I thought you were going to Powell. There it is. They view Powell as a complimentary guy, like a third down receiving option. So I think they'll bring somebody in to be the first, second down runner, but I don't think Forte's retirement has a much effect on anybody.
Okay. Last one. This one's kind of breaking news, right?
Yep,
we got Frank Gore.
Was told by the GM
he's not coming back.
Chris Ballard said that Frank Gore won't be signing. Actually, his quote was, "Frank knows we're at a point we need to get younger." Ballard said, "And look, I want to give Frank a chance to go see what's out there, and if he finishes at a place he wants to finish with, he likes it when you're honest with him, and we had a nice discussion." So
that's great. And I'd like to see, I wish more, teams treated their players like that. Yeah. Frank Gore definitely deserves it with such a storied career.
And it stinks for him because when he went to Indy, he thought he was getting Andrew Luck, and this was his team on the rise, T.Y. Hilton. and I don't know if he made the playoffs with them.
Well, does Frank Gore go anywhere else then? He obviously wants to play.
He's going to go somewhere. He's going to get his yardage. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
I think that is a Hall of Fame running back.
Yes.
I'm really interested to see where he lands and where he lands in rankings, because I think that's going to be intriguing.
He turned 35, so he's old.
So you should be able to get him fairly late in startups.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And I mean, his value on the trade market should be...
I think he went in the last round in the startup we talked about last week.
His value on the trade market should be really, really...
Third.
Really shallow.
I mean, third, fourth. I mean, whatever last round pick you have, you can get Frank Gore for that.
Possibly. I'm the guy that would rather hold, but...
Do you see anywhere Frank Gore goes where you like him?
No. I really don't. It's and that might change after we see what teams do in the draft and they do with the rest of their free agency period. Well, that hasn't even started yet. Excuse me.
Coming up though.
Yeah, that would be maybe
2 weeks.
It's going to take a really special situation to where I think that Frank Gore can, bust over even 800 yards. Like I just don't see that happening in any scenario right now.
Yeah.
But for Marlon Mack.
Yeah,
that now he should be on everybody's radars now.
Whoa.
He should be, and let me explain. Because now there's nobody in front of him. Now that doesn't mean that he's going to have success. That doesn't mean that the Colts are going to not bring in a running back that may end up being better. But he should be on everybody's watch list, if you will.
Do you know how many yards away Frank Gore is from fourth place in the all-time yardage list?
From fourth place, I imagine it's fairly close. What is it?
It's under 100. It's like 77 yards, and he jumps to fourth place.
So you're thinking he's only going to play another year because he wants to be in fourth place? Because that doesn't seem like professional athlete.
He's going to jump Curtis Sanders, and he'll only be behind Emmitt Smith, Walter Payton, and Barry Sanders. I mean, that's some pretty elite company. I mean, he's already ahead of LT, Jerome Bettis.
I see what you're saying, because he doesn't have any chance to catch Barry Sanders at third.
No.
He's over 1,000 yards behind Sanders.
Yes.
And I think it's 1,200,
1,250 yards, give or take a few.
And that's just not going to happen in today's NFL.
No. That's 3 more years for him. I mean, that would take 3 more years of 800 yards a year.
I don't think that's much of a factor for him. I really don't think he's trying to finish out his career just so he can be better than Curtis Martin.
He's already top 5. Like, would you have known that? Like, would you have known that talking Frank Gore? Would you have gone, oh, yeah, Frank Gore's a top 5
I would have figured he was top 10. I didn't really... I guess I didn't know he was top 5.
Top 5.
That's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
You know who the next active player is on this list?
No. Hit me with it.
AP, down at 12.
Adrian Peterson's going to be somebody we're going to have to talk about this offseason.
I'd love to talk to him.
I wouldn't.
AP, you want to come on the show, man? You're less than 100 yards away from top 10.
I hope he doesn't hit it.
AP, come on.
Yeah. He's probably out there trying to find 100 sticks or something instead to his kids with. Anyways, so...
Switch, not stick.
Oh, excuse me.
It's more flexible.
Now
AP's not coming on the show.
Your soccer coach talk to you about that or something? Teach you the difference?
Football.
So, here we go, Matt. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and we're going to come back with Mitchell Renz. So, stay tuned.
Looking for your next favorite podcast? One that will teach you how to make millions with Bitcoin? Help you lose those extra stubborn pounds, or make your spine tingle with a murder mystery? Stop searching and let Podable do the work. Podable is the only podcast player that learns what you love and recommends podcasts just for you. Import your favorites automatically and instantly discover new ones. Find your next favorite podcast today by visiting us at podable.co or download our app in the iOS App Store. That's Podable, P-O-D-I-B-L-E, and discover your story.
All right, Matt, looks like we have a very special guest today. It is Mitchell Renz.
I'm excited for this one.
Yep, absolutely. Kind of a big deal. Yeah. You might have heard of him.
Yeah. He's all over Twitter.
So, Mitchell, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm pretty excited to finally get on with 2 dads sliding into my DMs. It was pretty cool to see that. So, you guys are pretty awesome on Twitter yourself, so don't be so humble.
Hey, thank you. Hey, you want to kind of give your background? You know, what do you do? I mean, we know you on Twitter, but I don't know if everyone that listens to the show will.
For sure, yeah. So you guys can follow me on Twitter at MitchellRenz365. I'm a writer at Gridiron Experts and at Fantasy Pros, and my full-time job now is at a company called Chat Sports. We are essentially ESPN of Facebook. Millions of followers on Facebook, so please check us out at Chat Sports on all our social media. But again, my name is Mitchell Renz. Twitter, MitchellRenz365.
Sweet. Now let's get to the theme of the show here. We're talking sell highs and kind of some. I mean, we talked a little bit earlier. The combine is starting tomorrow. Kind of some expectations on that. Do you have anybody that you right now sell high, like as a off-season kind of dynasty piece?
So I think it's pretty interesting, and I think that in a sense, the NFL right now, it's obviously the offseason, right?
Right.
Today, Jonathan Stewart was let go by the Carolina Panthers, and we kind of have this tendency where, we hear some big name news, we hear some players, and then we kind of get excited and it starts the hype train again.
Right.
So today I tweeted about Christian McCaffrey, and Christian McCaffrey right now is ranked as running back 13 in dynasty rankings from what I've seen just on Google.
Wow.
When I see that, that's mind-blowing to me. I mean, here's a guy who averaged 3.7 yards per carry last season, and sure, he had an amazing season in terms of receptions, but there's no way he is running back 13 on my board. And if I can get pretty good value for him, I think it's smart to do it because I think they're going to bring in another running back. Because to me, McCaffrey showed that he wasn't a between the runners tackler or between the tackles runner, yeah. And Cam's always going to be the goal line back there. So right. I would sell high on McCaffrey.
That's an interesting take.
I was like, you love McCaffrey.
I love McCaffrey just because of, in PPR leagues especially, I think he's going to make up for everything. And, I mean, as a rookie, yeah, did he look great running between the tackles? No. But I don't think he got as many opportunities as I think most runners would. I think every play was drawn up. I mean, they put him in that offense and gave him a specific role right from the get-go.
Right. I think you said last week or 2 weeks ago that he's the best receiver on the Panthers.
I'd consider him the best receiver on the Panthers, yeah. Absolutely.
Is that high praise though? I mean, we're talking about Devin Funchess.
It's not.
Greg Olsen.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
but we're talking about like a team who offensively is pretty stale. I mean, Curtis Samuel's not going to scare you. Greg Olsen's getting up there in age, and then Devin Funchess is, I think, a glorified tight end. Sure, he might get another 113 targets, but as a running back,
I completely agree. I really do. Yeah. I don't know. How many acquisitions can they possibly make this offseason that will really hamper Christian McCaffrey in 2018? I just don't see very many. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're hampering, but I don't know if I can justify him being running back 13.
It seems high.
Yeah, I would agree that's high.
That's the big one for me. So I'm looking at it right now on some rankings. So he's over guys like Jordan Howard, Jay Ajayi.
He's
Derrick
a sexy
Henry.
pick. He's going to be a sexy pick.
Ugh.
That's just what's going to happen.
He thinks McCaffrey.
I think a lot of people like McCaffrey. I think that they're all high. The people that drafted him last year are super duper high on him. I mean, you can't get him away from anything.
104?
Yeah.
Ish?
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of capital invested in him already. It might get out of hand.
No, I hear you, and I guess I could talk about another running back who I would sell high on, and I guess I would ask you guys, I mean, Kenyon Drake or Christian McCaffrey? I mean, at the last 5 weeks of the season last year, Kenyon Drake was the #1 running back in fantasy football, which is pretty mind-blowing to me, but if there's a team that I almost want to stay away from in fantasy football, like the plague coming up, it's going to be the Miami Dolphins. That offensive line is just an absolute train wreck, and Kenyon Drake was impressive to me. However, I still think he's too small to be able to play 16 games and handle a full workload.
I think they're bringing in another running back. I mean, I don't know if it's through the draft or through free agency, but they're bringing somebody else in. Williams is leaving, free agent. I think they'll bring in somebody to do a timeshare. Even when Gase was in Denver, they had multiple running backs. I don't think Drake is going to be the guy. If you've got him, I would sell him. He's a guy that I would sell.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about a guy whose stock is rising. My co-host of the Gridiron Experts Empire podcast that I do tweeted out, working on a Kenyon Drake Dynasty article, price check. What would you pay for Drake? The winning votes were second and third round for Dynasty for Kenyon Drake. And there's just too many talented young running backs right now, and I just don't think Kenyon Drake is worth that. So if you're telling me I could get that for Drake, I'm selling high on him.
I don't think I'd let Drake go for a second-round pick.
What?
Yeah, I'm serious. I think they
always have the opposite.
I think they hit a home run with Drake. I mean, he was a guy that was drafted in the third round of the actual NFL draft in 2016. He looked promising in college, and when he finally had the opportunity to run with the ball, He beat out everybody else there once Ajayi was gone, and I mean he did pretty well with the time that he had. I'm sure they're going to bring somebody else in. That's just the nature of the position.
I think CJ8 is coming down to Miami when Denver cuts him.
These running backs are a dime a dozen. You got to bring them in. It's like a circle. It's like they constantly bring new guys in, but I like Drake a lot. I mean, fresh legs, and for where you can get him in startups right now, I don't see any problem.
Well, no corner like triangle. That's for sure.
Hey, one of my sell high guys. I wrote an article on this a few weeks back, and I'll talk about. I've got two pieces, but one is Adam Thielen. You know, I think he blew up this year. I think that I don't know if the new offensive coordinator is gonna give him the opportunities that Shermer gave him. Diggs is still there. I don't know. For me, I would sell Thielen. I'm not a big believer in him. What do you think?
What if I say that I am a strong believer that Kirk Cousins is going to be the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings? Does that change your opinion?
That might, yeah, a little bit. I feel like Keenum's coming back, but if Cousins ends up in Minnesota, that might change things for me.
So Keenum's a free agent, and Teddy Bridgewater's a free agent, and so is Sam Bradford. But from what I've read and from the articles that I've written here at Chat Sports, it looks like right now the Vikings are the leader, and then it's the Denver Broncos, and then the New York Jets. However, I would be kind of surprised if Case Keenum comes back. I think he's going to go somewhere else. I think he could either end up in a backup role in the Giants or possibly go to the Cardinals. But, I mean, Adam Thielen had a pretty amazing year last year, guys. Like, I don't know. I can understand it because you could be scared of him, but I mean, you're talking about a guy 91 catches, 1,200 yards, and sure only 4 touchdowns. But to me, touchdowns are the hard thing to predict. When you have that many targets, that many receptions, I could see the touchdowns going up.
Has there ever been a better time to sell Rob Gronkowski than right now?
Why is that?
It just seems like he doesn't have much left in the tank, and I mean, it seems like Tom Brady's kind of. I mean, he's going to ride into the sunset eventually. I mean, maybe another year, possibly 2. Belichick seems to be kind of at the planning his out game with McDaniel sticking around. I don't know. It just seems like maybe Gronk, with all the talks about him retiring, becoming an actor this offseason.
It came out today. I saw some news today that it's expected he'll be back next year, but he did consider retirement. But even if it's starting to sink into his brain now, what's he, 28?
He's young.
Yeah, I think he's 28, but when you just look at the laundry list of injuries that guy's had, but he's still, him and Travis Kelce were still the only tight ends that had over 1,000 receiving yards, and I don't know. I don't know if I could sell Gronk, because Gronk to me is still the best tight end in football.
He's one of those guys you kind of just write out then?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one more, and it deals with the combine, and I've seen some pretty crazy trades. One of my sell highs right now is 101. I mean, sell Barkley. If you some of the trades I've seen, those of you that can't see the face that he's making looks like I'm nuts. I've seen I'm in a league where a guy traded OBJ and Cam Newton for 101.
Oh my Lord.
For me, I mean, I've got some personal experience. I think that is if I can get that for 101, I would take that for 101. So I mean, do you agree, right? You would take OBJ and Cam over 101?
Wow. Yeah, no, I would take Cam. I mean, Cam's top 5 quarterback the last 5 years, and OBJ, I still think if I had a dynasty pick, he's probably still the number 1 wide receiver I would take even in dynasty. But it's funny, I wrote an article for Fantasy Pros. If you type in Saquon Barkley in fantasy, it's literally the very first article that pops up on Google. So I will say, though, Saquon Barkley is a man crush of mine. I'm from Central Pennsylvania. I went to Penn State games growing up as a kid, and Saquon Barkley is a freak of nature, guys. Like, we're talking about a guy who's 5'11", 230 pounds, probably going to run a 4.3 40. I compare him in the article to David Johnson from an athletic standpoint, because if you know what SPARQ score is, speed, power, athletic reaction, and quickness, you can think of it, you guys are sitting in a school, you can think of it as the SATs, if you will, for athletes. So, Saquon Barkley is going to post, I think, a SPARQ score like in the 99th percentile. Like, we're talking about athletes like Bo Jackson-esque, and when you watch him run, sure, he tries to hit that home run, but the dude is special. I'm all in on the 101, but that's a lot to give up for it.
Didn't you say LT in the article too? Did you mention
Yes.
LT? Okay, I remember reading that.
Yes, LaDainian Tomlinson and David Johnson are the two guys I comp to Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is, like I said, if I like Barkley. I mean, Justin wrote an article. He's the clear-cut 101. But I mean, if the return that people are getting out, and I think it could only go up. I mean, he goes out and has a great combine. If people are willing to pay crazy prices, I'm willing to sell at crazy prices.
I went as far as to say in that article that he could have a disastrous combine. He's still 101.
Yeah,
you could still make that argument just off of his tape.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his tape and it's amazing, but even if he has a bad combine, like what is a bad combine?
Exactly.
Like, if he's gonna run a 4.4, and when you're talking about a running back that size, that powerful, see the thing that I look at for running backs, especially, is not so much the 40, but the shuttle, the 20-yard shuttle. So guys who were not, let's say, the best prospects coming out of college, but a guy like Le'Veon Bell crushed the 20-yard shuttle, quick feet. Saquon Barkley this past summer ran a shuttle at 4.00. David Johnson 4.27, LaDainian Tomlinson 4.21. Like a 4 flat 20 shuttle is insane for a guy who's that big. I can't wait to watch Barkley. Must watch TV at the combine.
Is there a landing spot for him that is like that drops his value any? For you,
I guess the Browns.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really want him to go to the Browns. I think he's going to go to the Giants. I think the Giants are actually going to take him at number 2, or they're going to trade out of the spot. But I would love him to go to the Colts if Andrew Luck's healthy. But Barkley's too good. He's just too good.
Is there any way he falls to San Francisco?
I hope not.
I don't think there's really a bad landing spot for him, though, honestly.
I wouldn't want him on the Browns. I'm with Mitchell. I think, I don't trust Hugh Jackson. I mean,
it's hard to when you're 1-31 the last 2 years.
Right.
Terrible. Don't get me started on Hugh Jackson, please. Terrible. So since we're talking combine,
yeah, go ahead.
I think one of the things we wanted to ask you was, what are your expectations of the combine? Is there anything specific that you're looking for? You're following any players?
Any non-big name guys that you're watching?
Yeah, just overall.
Well, unfortunately, I haven't really been able to really dig into not really some of the big name guys. I wrote an article which you guys can check out at Gridiron Experts. It's just 6 guys who I think could really impact their draft stock at the combine. One guy who I really want to watch, and it's a guy who I got to watch live here in Dallas, Texas, is Courtland Sutton. So if you would just want to talk about a wide receiver from a build standpoint, a guy that you would almost build on Madden, 6'4", 218 pounds, just a really, really solid guy. Unfortunately, the thing that's going to matter for him is the 40-yard dash. He's not really a guy who's a typical burner, but if he puts up a good 40-yard dash, I've even seen it rumored that Courtland could be the number 1 wide receiver taken in the draft. So he's a big physical guy, but I wish he's kind of got the long strides, which I think makes him look faster at times than what he actually is. But Sutton's a guy to watch. Interested to see how Ronald Jones does, running back from USC. Only 6 foot, 200 pounds. He's a little bit smaller, but if there's a running back who I think can really impact his draft stock, it's the LSU running back Darius Geis. Geis in 2016 was an absolute monster, 7.6 yards per carry. And then in 2017, kind of had a bit of a down year, 5.3. If he can run a solid 40, Darius Geis is a guy who's going to shoot up boards.
Okay, I'm going to throw one name out. Lamar Jackson.
Let's hear it. Whew.
You either love him or you hate him. I mean, that's at least the things I've seen. Bill Polian came out and said he should be a wide receiver, shouldn't be a quarterback, which I don't agree with. But what are your thoughts?
So I tweeted something out that was like, what's Lamar Jackson's position going to be in 3 years? And 75% of the people said quarterback, and a small percentage said wide receiver and all that other stuff. But Lamar Jackson's an interesting prospect, 6'3", 200 pounds, but I'm interested to see what kind of 40 time he runs. I mean, he could run the best 40 time of any quarterback of all time, but I think he's very underrated with his accuracy. Sure, you can always improve your accuracy, but a lot of these guys coming out of the combine or coming out of college football need to improve their accuracy. I like Lamar Jackson. He's been compared to Michael Vick. Heck, Michael Vick even said he reminds him.
You don't?
I feel like every time we have a quarterback that can scramble, we always hear the Michael Vick talk. It happens every single time there's a decent scrambling quarterback. It's insane to me. Every time.
I mean, I don't know if we've seen a legit scrambling playmaking quarterback like Lamar Jackson in a long time. Sure, Mariota was amazing coming out of Oregon, but I think Mariota was a more polished pocket passer, and I think he is more of a pocket passer than what a guy like Lamar Jackson was. I mean, it was basically Lamar Jackson versus college football. I mean, that Cardinals team was not good.
No, and I do like Lamar Jackson. I just want to make that clear. I hate one of my peeves is when people make comparisons for guys, and that just drives me nuts. Especially when it always happens at this time of year when they're coming from college to the draft. We always hear comparisons like how you mentioned, and I know why we do it. We do it because it's easy. It's the easiest way to help people that don't know these players in and out to draw these comparisons and what they make up their mind there.
Right.
You know, if you say a player it reminds you of David Johnson and LT, when people read that, they're going to think, oh, man, that's
great.
obviously very, very special.
Right.
But that's something that's always been kind of a pet peeve of mine is comparisons. It's most of the time they grow inaccurate.
Well, I can understand that. I guess maybe you shouldn't check out my series, NFL Blind Comparisons by Fantasy Pros, then. Because I've written one on Sony Michel, and I've written one on Darius Geis. But I understand the one-player comparison. It's why I'm not crazy about it. It's why I like to do two. Because there's a lot of times it's hard to pick out certain guys. And it's the article I just wrote on Sony Michel, I think his upside and his skill set is a lot like a guy like Alvin Kamara.
Yep.
I think he's like Alvin Kamara, but I think he's got weaknesses a lot like Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt this past year we saw come out blazing with confidence, and then as soon as things got tough, he kind of went into a little bit of a shell, and that's what I see in Sony Michel. So I understand the blind comparisons thing, but it's an easy way to make comparisons for, like you said, people who don't watch the tape all the time.
Absolutely. No, I completely get it. I understand from an industry standpoint why we do it. It's just, I don't know. Whenever you hear the same names over and over again, I think that's part of the problem. But maybe it's just me. Let's see. So, can I tell you what I think is going to happen at the Combine? If there's one thing I can bet on, if there's only one thing I can bet on about the Combine, there's going to be a player that runs a blazing fast 40, and it's going to boost his stock up way more than it should.
John Ross?
Yeah, it happens every year. So that's one thing I'd bet on to happen at this Combine. I don't know who it is. I'm not going to say that.
Is it going to be a Raider? Wasn't that?
Whoever it is, they're going to boost not only their NFL stock up, but they're going to boost their rookie draft stock up, and it's going to be insane. It'll happen.
Yeah, that's almost a guarantee, and I hope it's not the Raiders. I cover the Raiders here at Chat Sports, and that's the last thing I would need to be able to cover. Because I just did my show 2 days ago on the best Raiders draft picks since 2000. If you want a good chuckle, go through and look at the Raiders draft picks since 2000. It is unbelievable. Incredible.
I'm off the top of my head, Hayward Bay was the fast guy that they drafted. I mean, that used to be their MO, was go get the fast guy.
Oh, Jamarcus Russell, too. Was
the offensive tackle?
Yeah.
Or the quarterback?
I see what you did there.
I was thinking a little bit. I'm like, what the hell's he talking about?
Because he's fat.
He's huge. I get it now.
Hey now. So Mitchell, are there any guys that are kind of lower on people's ranks that you just don't really understand or see why? Any kind of underrated guys? Either rookies or just vets going into 2018.
Well, if there's an underrated guy, I think from the rookies, I'll start there. It's the running back from Georgia, Sony Michel. So he was kind of overshadowed by Nick Chubb, and I think it's kind of sad in a way because Nick Chubb is a great running back, but again, I think Sony Michel has a brighter future in the NFL. The one stat that I read that absolutely blew my mind was Sony Michel's top speed that he hit last season was 22.5 miles per hour. Okay,
amazing.
Which is there was only one player in the NFL who hit over 22. So I like Sony Michel. I think he's the dark horse of the running backs, and we see a lot of times now. Sure.
Uh-oh.
I think we lost him. Mitchell,
can you hear us?
Off the top of my head, from other positions, no, I'd have to look at it.
Sorry, we lost you a little bit there, Mitchell. I apologize. Just at the end.
All good.
We'll just keep rolling.
we'll edit.
Do you happen to know who that one player was that topped over 22 miles per hour this year?
We know who he is.
Leonard Fournette.
Was it Fournette? 'Cause I know Fournette. I thought Fournette did it, but I'm pretty sure that Elijah McGuire did it too.
Well, from what I saw, Leonard Fournette was the only player, but I could be wrong.
I might be wrong, but we had
a whole episode on Elijah McGuire and how fast he was, and so you mentioned top speed, and I immediately go, oh, it's Elijah McGuire all over again.
It was on Next Gen Stats for the NFL, and they were talking about how fast Elijah McGuire was, and I made a whole episode out of it. You had to be there. You had to be there.
Yeah. No, it's all good, man. I used to work for the Jets in college, so I'm all about the Jets hype trains.
Are they going to offer Cousins $60 million year one?
Oh man, I don't know.
That's
I hope
nuts.
Cousins doesn't. I hope he doesn't go there. He said he wants to win, and
yeah, he's not going to win there.
Yeah,
I mean, if you want to win, I'm assuming it's Denver or Minnesota. I mean, those are your two options.
They're great options. They really are.
Yeah, it's hard to argue him. I will say though, I'm a little bit nervous with Pat Shurmur leaving, but I am a huge Mike Zimmer fan, so I still believe in the Vikings.
All right, Mitchell. Well, I think that about does it for our time. Did you have anything else that you wanted to say? You want to get out there? Anything you want to plug?
Yeah, I was actually told early in the offseason that I was the Lamar Ball or whatever the heck his name is. I can't even think of his name of plugging. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but it doesn't matter. I butchered it.
Their
anyway.
name, if your name's in their mouth, it doesn't matter. I think that's a LeVar Ball quote. So
yep, LeVar Ball. There you go. But no, I want to say thanks a lot for having me on the show, guys. I know we were trying to do this for most of the season, but. Things have been kind of crazy here at Chat Sports, but you guys can please follow me on Twitter at MitchellRenz365, and make sure you guys check out Chat Sports on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Like I said, we're ESPN of Facebook. It's literally millions of followers, so please check us out. We just started the YouTube page, and then if you guys are Oakland Raiders fans, I cover the Raiders. Check it out, Raiders Report. But again, guys, thanks for having me on, and I'm sure I'll be on again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Take care.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, there you have it. The definitive interview with Mitchell Renz.
That was good.
That was good.
That was good. He knows his stuff.
Absolutely, and he does a lot of great work. He did a great job plugging it, making sure everybody knew.
Yeah.
Which we just want to remind everybody, when you are a guest on the show, that's what we expect you to do. We want you to do that. We want people, our listeners especially, to find this awesome content that is out there in the community. So Mitchell did a great job of that. We really want you to check out his Twitter, which is at MitchellRenz365. Definitely worth a follow.
Yeah.
And you guys should, if you don't know him before this episode, you definitely
should know
need
him
to.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, Matt, we're going to take a really quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about the Combine and what it means to us as Dynasty owners. And then we're going to close out the show. How's it sound?
Sounds good to me.
All right. We'll be right back. And welcome back. What an interview! I still can't get over it.
Yeah, it was good. I'm glad we had him on. I can definitively say we will have him on again. Definitively. Is that your word of the day?
I hate you.
I think it's your word of the day.
I hate you so much.
Yeah, well.
So, Matt, we have to. We got to be a little topical here. We got to talk about
Combine,
the NFL Combine, and this is, to me, this is the start of the 2018 Dynasty season.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're going to find out statistically more about these players that are coming in. We're going to find out a little bit more of them. This is when stories start to kind of unfold a little bit. We're going to hear more from the GMs and what they're thinking. And a lot of it's going to be smoke screens, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But we're also going to hear, some rumor and innuendo about these players and what they can and can't do. We're going to hear about somebody's hand size. I guarantee it.
Yes. We always hear about hand size.
We're going to see somebody run a blazing fast 40 and immediately raise their stock in not only the real NFL, but in the fantasy and dynasty world. And we are going to see a ton of activity on Twitter of people overhyping rookies.
Did you see this?
Rookies not named
Byron
Barkley.
Jones set the all-time world record for long jump.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What do you, honestly, this is kind of off topic. What do you think of these quarterbacks that don't throw at the Combine?
From a business aspect, it makes perfect sense. If I'm their agent and I know that they're locked in, to where they want to be, where they're happy with,
Yeah.
there's no reason to lose out. I mean,
they're going to throw at their pro day. It's not like they're not going to throw.
Well, the pro day is a little different. It all depends. I mean, it depends on the player. It depends on the situation. It depends on if there's any kind of health concerns, this and that.
Right.
I mean, but it really, the way that this whole okay, I'm going to go on a tangent.
Okay, let's hear it.
So the way that the NFL is set up for rookies is really like the most un-American thing ever.
Un-American.
Yeah.
Wow.
I said it.
If to me it's a what do they call those when you go and you just interview for a bunch of jobs? That's what the combine is to me.
Which I'm not going to get into, but
Okay.
so it's wrong, really.
Job fair.
So these players,
It's a job fair.
it's not a job fair.
This is a job fair for these guys, for these college players. Yes, it is. It's exactly like a job fair. You're going to interview, you're going to show off your talents, and then they'll draft you.
The fact that these players do everything that they can to be at this level for free is one thing. And I hate that. And I don't know where you stand on it, but I absolutely hate it. They should be getting compensated in more ways than their education.
Oh, you mean in college they should be getting paid?
In college.
Absolutely. Yes,
then,
that's a whole different podcast episode.
I know. And then they go to this where it's the combine, and these kids, they're kids, are going out here. They're doing everything for a bunch of guys in stopwatches and pens and pencils and clipboards, and that are dissecting literally every little thing about these guys.
It's tryouts.
Hold on.
Gosh, get to your point.
But then they do all this. They play at such a high level. They're the best in the world at what they do. And then they're just drafted. They don't have any choice in the matter. They can't pick and choose. They're forced to be a part of this one way or another. They're forced to at least make a decision whether they're going to be a part of it or not. The NFL tries to strong arm them in actually attending the NFL draft if they're a first round pick. It's just, I don't know. It just doesn't seem right to me that they don't have any choice in it whatsoever. They don't get to pick. They can't say no.
They could say no.
They really can't say no.
John Elway said no.
The way that the NFL is set up now, they really can't say no.
Eli said no.
The way the NFL is set up now, they get penalized harshly, whether it's in the eyes of the media, the eyes of the fans, the eyes of their teammates. It's such a career hindrance.
You're right. Joey Bosa's career is just terrible now because he refused to sign that contract.
Joey Bosa is one hell of a player, but I don't know if you remember that entire time he sat out, his name was dragged through the mud.
And he is the best young defensive end in the league, and no one is arguing that.
Yep. Yeah.
So what does it matter?
He needed stellar play to get that stank off of him.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
He was a good player.
He was a good player.
The Chargers are a terribly run organization.
Absolutely. Completely agree.
So I don't know. I don't think it. He did what was best for him. He sat out. He came back. He was Joey Bosa. There was a reason he was the number 3 overall pick.
Yeah.
So I don't what's the issue? They have choice. They can.
Does it bother you? I think what bothers me is that there's a set amount for how much they get paid now.
That's how it is. Should a second round pick get paid?
Wow. Thank you.
No,
that's like the worst argument.
If you're
ever.
the number 1 pick, you deserve to be paid the most. If you're the second pick, you deserve to be paid the second most.
Completely agree with you.
Okay.
I completely agree with you. But that was happening before.
No, it wasn't. There
it
were
was
guys
happening for the most part before.
When Dez Bryant held out because he wanted to be paid more than Demaryius Thomas, even though Demaryius Thomas was a higher draft pick, that's not how it should have been. You weren't picked first.
But at least there's some kind. I like that there's at least some kind of freedom in it. Their agents can actually work for them. Those players, if they want to, they can actually hold out for what they think their value is. You got drafted to a team that you know is not going to go anywhere in the next couple of years. Yeah, hold out.
Every major
make it worth it.
Sport is a slotted draft.
I know.
NBA,
that doesn't make it right.
MLB, that's how it should be. If you're the best, get picked higher.
I get this. I get the math behind it, and I understand how that's great for the owners. But then you see some of these players that are just team changers, like just this last season, and they're getting paid like peanuts compared to other guys that are playing at the same level.
Paid, but when their 5th year option kicks in,
maybe. What
do you mean maybe?
Their 5th year option.
Yeah, they play 4 years for cheap.
You had to play at an elite level for 4 years to get paid like an elite player on that 5th option.
If they pick up your 5th year option for first round players, because it's only a 5th year option on first round players, they give you the average of the top 10 people at your position.
Right.
So you're paid as a top 10 guy.
After 4 years, what's the average career in the NFL? It's like 3 years, maybe, right?
Depends on the position, I think.
Well, still, I mean, if we want to talk about position scarcity, let's talk running backs.
There's tons of running backs.
Yeah, and none of them have a long career anymore.
Because
we're not going to see another Frank Gore, who we just mentioned is 35 and has had a stellar career. We're not going to see another one of those for a very long time.
Really?
You got the one guy that's in it right now. Who was it? What was it? AP. Okay. Adrian Peterson, who's probably going to be out in another year too.
Okay.
You don't see the scarcity at running back right now? Like,
no, I think it's a facade that everyone tries to bring up that there's a scarcity, but every year there's guys stay.
There's a reason why every team has like 2 to 3 running backs on the roster that we can name.
The game has changed.
Yeah, they're a dime a dozen. The running backs are a dime a dozen.
Great.
I've said that to you all year.
Then you know what you need to do? Play a different position. You want to get paid? Play quarterback. Play wide receiver.
Or if you're really smart, don't play football.
Well, yeah, I can't argue that. Go play baseball. Guaranteed money.
20 years, NFL's going to have a really hard time. I'm telling you, it's going to be a really, really tough
3
time.
years. XFL is coming, and it's going to make it. No, I'm kidding.
You might eat those words, Matt.
I like the XFL, but I don't think they're any competition for the NFL.
No one is right now.
Yeah.
Give it time. The NFL is weakening. That shield is weakening. Oh. It is. It is. Let's talk.
I was like, you looking at anybody specific at the combine or what?
No, I'm not.
No?
I'm really not. I look at everybody, their results. I shouldn't say everybody. I usually look at like top 20, top 25 at every drill.
Okay.
And just kind of see where they're at. It doesn't matter if I don't look at like the position rankings.
I like watching
at, the top 25 of that drill.
Not that it matters, and it really doesn't matter for fantasy, but I like watching the linemen run the 40s.
I couldn't care less.
I just think I could do that.
A lineman run the 40 is
I know it
worthless.
Means absolutely nothing. It's just
they do it just for fun.
Yeah,
they really do.
So that's me. I can't wait to see how my numbers compare to these NFL linemen that are running the 40s.
Yeah. What do you run a 40 in?
I don't know.
We're gonna figure it out.
We are gonna find. We have talked about that, and I think we can make that happen. The Dynasty Dads Combine.
Oh God.
We could pick out drill. Do the cone. Do the 40.
I just don't know if I want to be
bench
embarrassed
press
on YouTube for the rest of my life.
I think we should do it and see which one of us is the better prospect.
I think it's pretty obvious, Matt. I think it's pretty obvious. It's definitely me.
No.
So how much value do you put into the results of a combine?
I think that's a Twitter poll. Just to go back, we'll
is
put
a
that
great
up.
Twitter poll. Yeah.
Who is the better NFL prospect? Justin
No. That's not what I meant.
Oh,
I thought you were saying how much value.
How much value do I put in? Honestly, between the, I feel like guys can go out and have bad combines and go and have a great pro day, and it doesn't change it. Their value stays exactly where it was. So I think you can have a bad combine if you follow it up with a solid pro day. Your value's back where it was. And now if you have a bad combine and then you have a bad pro day, it might hurt your value. But a guy that had a bad combine last year that didn't have a great pro day, Dalvin Cook, proved to be a really good running back. So to me, I don't put a lot of stock into it. The game tape kind of shows what you do as a player rather than the statistics at the combine.
It is really easy for me to say.
Really?
It is really easy to get swayed by these results, though, is it not?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you, the industry is just like hungry for this. Like we're waiting for tomorrow and to just talk about something.
If you're not going to watch, which I can't blame you for not watching,
right?
But you are definitely going to read what happened.
Yeah.
You are going to listen to the podcast like us that tell you what happened.
Oh my gosh, this guy ran a really fast 40. Mm-hmm. The Raiders are going to draft him. But yeah, I mean, I don't put I like it. I like to look at it, but for me, it's more of a tape thing than the numbers. Disagree?
I don't disagree with you. I think that the numbers, they mean too much to most of the industry.
So do you put more stock into numbers or more stock into tape?
Oh, absolutely tape.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I think I just want to say this, and I hope this sticks with people like it stuck with me. It's one thing to run a 40-yard dash in shorts,
compression shorts.
You're running as fast as you can.
No one's chasing you.
You have that
ready, set, go.
That mindset where you're going to be as fast as possible.
Right.
I get it. It's a whole other thing to run 40 yards downfield when there's another player trying to catch up with you.
Right.
You run faster if you're being chased. You run faster if you think somebody's trying to tackle you and take your head off. I just think that it doesn't really mean a lot to me when a guy runs a blazing fast 40. What means a lot to me is when he was actually playing in college, did he make people miss?
Right.
Did he separate from
The
those
cornerback.
defenders?
Right. Or did he blow by
That's-
linebackers? Or yeah.
Yeah, there's two different kinds of speeds in the NFL, and I think that's something that a lot of people forget.
Something that stuck with me, and I mean, this is us watching football together this season. You are not a Josh Allen fan. Wyoming quarterback.
No. Ever since, was that the
Iowa.
first week?
That was week 1 against
Yeah.
Iowa.
I remember I knew of Josh Allen. I didn't know a lot about Josh Allen.
I knew he was supposed to be a top pick.
Yep, I knew that going into that game. And my opinion of Josh Allen has changed a little bit
Yeah.
when we have a full season.
from that game.
But we were at a draft that day,
Yes, we were.
and they had the Iowa game on. And a good friend of ours was saying how great Josh Allen was. He's just this great quarterback. He's elite, this and that. And he looked nothing like that to me.
And not in that game.
And like I said, my opinion's changed a little bit. I don't think he's worth where a lot of these people are ranking him. But
His comp is Ben Roethlisberger. Big guy, can get out of trouble.
okay.
6'3", 230, or 6'5".
Yeah,
230.
solid build.
Yeah, big guy.
Mm-hmm.
Pocket passer.
So next week is the plan to go over these
Oh, yeah.
combine
Oh,
results
yeah. We're
then
gonna
and kind of talk about them a little bit.
Yes.
Well, that'll be fun. Said no one ever.
What, you don't?
I don't know. I don't know. They just don't mean anything. But like you said, we're all hungry for it.
Let's, we'll have tons to talk about. I mean, we can pull up. I'm sure Mitchell will write a piece, and then the following week we'll talk free agency.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. I mean, there's already pieces moving now, so.
I can't wait to see Jonathan Stewart raise that Lombardi trophy in a few months with his new team. It'd be great.
Do you think he's one of the Patriots?
I don't know. I was being sarcastic.
Oh.
He's
my
not
God,
going to help a team.
I don't
at all.
understand what you're saying.
Nope. No one does.
That's true.
No one does.
That's true.
So yeah, enjoy the combine, everybody. It should be a interesting time, to say the least.
Yeah, something to read about.
Yep, absolutely. Gives us something to talk about, something to read about, something to talk about around the water cooler.
Cooler. That's on Netflix.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Waterboy.
There's some good stuff on Netflix.
Yeah, sorry. Go full circle. It's a circle.
Just never ever waste your time watching Open House.
I didn't even hear. I forgot it after you said it.
Did you watch 13 Reasons Why?
No.
That actually wasn't bad.
That's a book.
My wife talked me into watching that.
My students read the book in
The
class.
boy that's in 13 Reasons Why is like the main character in Open House.
Yeah.
It's
Is Death Note as bad as it looks?
Death Note is really, really bad.
Okay.
I watched it.
I haven't
And
watched
it's
it. It just looks
just-
stupid.
I thought it looked interesting,
I think it looks
and it
dumb.
was anything but interesting. My wife walked in on me watching that once, and she's like, "What the f is this?
What are you watching?
What is this?
Yeah.
Turn it off.
And when they have
Turn
Shawshank
it off."
on Netflix.
Oh, Shawshank is great,
Yeah. I mean,
legendary.
yeah.
I'm
one of
sad
those-
they took Family Guy off of there, which I'm disappointed.
Oh, no.
I would watch Family Guy reruns all the time.
course
I think
you
that's
would.
fun. Whenever there's nothing else on, I had to waste like 20 minutes. Family Guy would be
Isn't Archer like Family Guy?
on. It's not the same.
Oh,
I think
okay.
Family Guy is like one of the funniest things ever.
Wow.
That's just me.
Yeah, clearly.
Well, that does it for the show.
Yes.
As Matt mentioned, tune in next week. We're going to go ahead and talk about the results of the Combine. The week after that, we're going to talk about free agency. As always, if you're missing us, you can check out www.dynastydads.com. We have a bunch of new writers on
articles.
staff.
Yep.
We have new articles. We're going to be switching up the page a little bit here so you can actually find those articles a little easier.
Yeah.
But so everybody knows, you can find it just in the articles tab. It's the very first tab on the top of the page. But I know how some people are. Millennials, I tell you.
Yeah.
Also, don't forget, we have the free agent contest that's still going up.
Yep. It's ending in 2 weeks.
2
So get your stuff in.
weeks. And the person with the highest score at the end of it will win a free t-shirt. And that is courtesy of Let's Get Personal. And that's on Facebook. Just search for Let's Get Personal and you will find that page. She does a great job over there. So, Matt, anything you want to add?
No, I'm good. It was a good episode. Glad we had Mitchell on, and I'm looking forward to next week.
Yeah, special thanks to Mitchell Renz. He did great. That's at Mitchell Renz 365 on Twitter. And we are the Dynasty Dads, at Dynasty Dads on Twitter, at Dynasty Dads on Facebook, and of course,
DynastyDads.com.
Yeah, be sure to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and a comment, and we will read it on the air next week. Thank you. We're out.
God bless.
Thanks for hanging out with us on another episode of the Dynasty Dads Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and follow us on Twitter at Dynasty Dads. Visit us at our website, dynastydads.com, for articles, news, and notes, Dynasty Dads gear, and more.